I am so late to this. Hope you're in a nice comfortable seat, as today we'll be talking about the birds and the Reggies. And their friends that were also released months ago that we'll be running through and ranking with a nice rounded number of 10. Never seen that number before. With the new mini Nintendo Direct giving updated Pokemon news and memories of me forgetting to make this video, I thought it'd be fun to go through these new Pokemon and discuss all the news about them, their possibilities, what makes them great, or could have been done better. Let's jump into the brand new Generation 8 Pokemon that'll be coming to Pokemon Sword and Shield and ranking them from worst to best. Number 10. Starting at the bottom we have Zarude. This is worst to best, but I promise I'm not just singling out the only mythical Pokemon like that's really just a sort of subcategory to legendary Pokemon. Really it's just about how it looks in the games compared to the rest of the picks, and it might need a little more. Dark Grass is a great type, but having another grass monkey come in when we just got Grookey might be a little much. It is okay though. They can use the same animal and have a changed type like it's an evil version coming in to steal all the royalties from its band, but it's mostly the fact that it just doesn't look like what you'd really desire for a mythical Pokemon. It's one you need to warm up to for sure, and is sort of hard to place in what backstory it'll be given beyond just being a feral rogue mythical Pokemon that's more of a bridge between the other mythicals and regular Pokemon, where it has that look like it doesn't care about the status and is just here to fight. It does also sort of have the exact same kind of personality that Shiftry does, but maybe it was made to be a showstopper in the new Pokemon movie. That movie's in a jungle, it's in the trailer, Coco has the same armbands, maybe the movie will carry Zarude's story. It just kind of looks like Grookey's deranged uncle that comes out every 2 to 3 years for Thanksgiving and gets into arguments over how dry the turkey is and why there's chunks in its cranberry sauce, and you don't actually know who he's related to or how he got into the house, and now the kids gotta go upstairs to their room because he's getting Zarowdy. As a great comment on Zarude's trailer once said, "Bruh, I can't wait to get this bad boy into my boxes so I can never touch him again." Number 9. Keller X. The first legendary Pokemon to pop up on this list is the Psychic Grass type Keller X, and while it may technically be the first one to show up on this list, it's actually last because this is a ranking and thus the ordering. Legendary Pokemon in general always have a decent score when being ranked in anything, and Keller X is by no means bad. Well, actually, maybe if it didn't have that giant P on its head with the top section that looks like it shoots out the string-like substance from sea cucumbers that you use to cover wounds and cuts, it'd be a little easier to push past the few other legendary Pokemon being introduced in this region. I do however like the magical rabbit-like creature with a stern look and magical aura. It has a nice round Charge-a-Bug necklace and some wing decals that are almost a cloak to keep warm during this snowstorm, but it will be one of those Pokemon needing to be carried by its story and how you encounter it to really make this a memorable one. It easily looks to almost be the average size of a mythical Pokemon and will likely be confused for one, which isn't bad, but Keller X is for sure one of the more mixed reviewed Pokemon, which might not immediately jump out as a legendary Pokemon that's commented on as a 100% I need to get this right now. But it does have a good base to wonder how it will be in this expansion when we're all in game. Number 8. Galarian Moltres. Moltres has always been one of the Pokemon that's had to fight tooth and nail to stay relevant in the meta of popularity between its other two bird groupies, with Zapdos and Articuno always fighting for the number 1 spot between the three. I mean, let's look at Pokemon 2000. Moltres doesn't even get a home field advantage. Zapdos is poised to do double damage with all the water there and likelihood of people getting wet, and there's so much ice for Articuno, it's used to the cold. Where's the burning buildings or coal plants producing soot and smoke for Moltres? Well, it turns out Moltres found it in Generation 8 because now it's burnt. I'm not in any way ripping on the design, it's actually incredibly great, and an amazing change to Moltres. I love the look, and look forward to seeing what typing it could be. My guess would be dark fire with the color scheme, but we can't always assume darker colors are dark. It's a great change to Moltres, and definitely feels like its own personal upgrade. Even though the other two birds are a little bit more significant on their design changes, and where Moltres is more of just a focus on colors, and might have to rely on its animations and possible change in personality in how it battles and flies around. Always the bird's mate, never the bird. Number 7. Reg Electric. Ranking these without a little more to go off of and just solely on their design can be a little bit hard, but by gone are we gonna do it? Reg Electric here, which hasn't confirmed in its type yet, but I think we can guess these are flows of current, really comes in as a surprise as both a brand new Reggie and a very unique one compared to the rest. I do like this sort of light bulb looking Pokemon with shocks of electricity going everywhere as it looks to float around. I can really envision the sparks flying everywhere and possibly burning out or blacking out after a huge electrical overdrive like its own personal charged up electric explosion. It might be seen as one of the more slightly edgy picks to put above the last two Pokemon, but not Zarude. However, it is a really different look and feels very standoutish. Its design is so palpable that just from its looks you can almost feel the electricity flowing from it like the static shock I get whenever I touch a car door. Ow! I'm going to blame this Pokemon every time that happens. Number 6. Shifu. I'm calling it that because I'm ranking them separately, and this is for the Rapid Strike style Water Urshifu. Like every pairing of Pokemon or branching evolution, there's going to be a little competition between the two. And while they are basically the same design, it really comes down to finely dissecting their looks and the few differences given to them like typing, moves, looks, forms, which are the only criteria given to us by the trailers, so we'll be basing it off that. Today we have a face-off for you. All between number 6, Shifu, and number 5, Darkish 2. Both are rather similar, but Single Strike style having that look of a slightly more edgy, brute force way of fighting, and Rapid Strike style still having a good look, the same colors, but slightly less intimidating with more of a focus on being meditative and calming. It's like the thick boxer versus the slightly thinner ninja. Really, it's up for debate between these two. I personally like Single Strike style's look and Gigantamax form better, even though their Gigantamax forms are a much closer war between looks and even poses. Seeing them in battle with their signature move striking are also giving them some cool kid points. But another win for Single Strike style here, where I don't really know how the green Rapid Strike style is really water-esque. And then after that, having to choose between the towers to evolve Kofu in, where one is called the Tower of Darkness and the other is called the Tower of Water, is another point for our single pal. I mean, which sounds more appealing in what you want to visit? The Tower of Water or the Tower of Darkness? You might slip with all the running water everywhere. And if the lights are always off in the Tower of Darkness, while the water is always running in the Tower of Water, that means single saving Urshifu is paying much less for his tower than Rapid Dat Urshifu, never turning off the water. This is Galar, we're paying an additional $30 for DLC on something we've already paid for. Utilities are not included. That's a quick 5-0 and a first to 10 between the two Wushu. Number 4. You guessed it, it's Kung Fu Cub Fu. I didn't mention this in the last section, but before seeing the two evolutions in-game, Kofu was in this spot, just a lot higher on the list than the others. But with them looking less chunky and in battle like the Pokemon they are in the games, they looked a lot better and seemed to be on the better side of being well-received legendary Pokemon evolutions to our cute little legend. Kofu strikes in its own way as the tiny little bear ready to fight, and it's always nice to see a legendary Pokemon that's more on the ready to be bigger and stronger. Kofu sets its sights to become its evolutions, and even looks like a Pokemon that'd be great on Ash's team. Maybe this could be the first legendary Pokemon he owns. I think this type of legendary evolution is well done, just because of Kofu's personality and the prospect of seeing it ready to join you on your journey to take on whichever tower you choose to bring it to see which evolution it can become, as you're able to choose between both towers. The two of its evolutions also look like Pangoro. You put Pangoro between these two, that's basically a trio. I mean, are they gonna add Kofu into the middle of this group picture too? Get Pancham. Now Pancham gets a little legendary buddy in a similar looking legendary group posing for a picture. All together, this is a 5-piece chicken tender combo. Number 3. Wretched Dragon. While it's not confirmed that this will be a dragon type, that's the best name I can give it with that dragon looking arm engraving on it. We might get trolled and it ends up as something unable to be guessed upon looking at it, like a fire type where it's not in its fire form just yet, and just has dragon heads to make it look like a dragon, so when it flames on, that sculpted dragon is shooting spitting hot flames. It does look like a really interesting Pokemon that might have the best cavern to encounter it in, and an even more unexpected, but a pleasing new Titan to see added into the group, even more so than its partner in crime being revealed at the same time. You've got some really high quality details on its arms that stylistically make its entire self be one of those Pokemon that has that different vibe from the others, and gives off the feeling it's got something cooking and where you have to get it, or what you have to go through to unlock it. Really excited for how these two new Regis are integrated into the new games, and while Reg Electric might be 5 spots away, these two have a lot to bring into the DLC and give off a lot of things to speculate with how the original Regis and their leader will be brought in. With you all being able to see that the last 2 remaining legendaries on this list are the 2 remaining birds, it's time for another phase to see who prevails as number 1 with Face Off 2. Zapdos here on the right has always been one of my favorite legendary birds, with Articuno, on the left, coming in very closely behind. Zapdos' form looks to have a change of being a ground electric type with its now grounded look and chocobo figure. Articuno now looks like it's gone back in time to the 70s to party it up in its new sleek form with such a drastic change in appearance that you might not even know it's the same Pokemon if you've never played the game and didn't see its name. It could be a possible Psychic Ice with the majesty of it all, but who edges out the victory for number 1? Between the two, you've got the more rugged look for Zapdos and the more focus on beauty with Articuno. But that cosmic design, looking almost like it's about to introduce a new cyber typing and making it a psychic digital Pokemon, shooting out fiber internet speeds from its solemn eyes, really brings the beauty of original Articuno and the grace of it as an ice type to a new story. Zapdos barges in close, however, with its fierce self as it struts its legs in a pose to run at Mach speeds, really making it that down-to-earth bird we know it as, with a style that keeps its original loving looks and adding a slightly more angered and hostile look that we do know emanates from Zapdos. That just brings it in close, but for the number 1 spot here, we have Articuno, with Zapdos being one of the closest number 2s to a number 1. But with the completely brand new overhaul to Articuno and how well they added in a completely different design, it earns that number 1 spot and closes off this ranking with a new trio of birds gracing us in their new forms. That, when put together, brings a whole new ability to highlight the personalities we've seen in these birds since Generation 1.